There we go. Now we can start. So good we're here together. Another week. You guys are survivors of the meditation. It's very good, actually. I was counting the meditation. I think we did it more than, I think, almost 40. We're going to do almost 40 meditations, you know? So you guys have quite a lot of hours and quite a lot of material that you can go through again and again. That's, I think it is really nice, actually, that these sessions are recorded. So you guys can always go to, when you feel like, when you want to do it, so you can do it by yourself and listen to the melodious voice of Cowden. Poor things. This is your bad karma. And again, not my fault. It's bad karma. But it's very good. Very, very good. So today we're going to meditate a little bit on the biggest, as we'd like to say, the biggest obstacle for us to actually, develop that altruistic mind. The last few weeks we have been developing that equanimous mindset, the equanimity type of mindset, right? We meditated on equanimity towards ourselves, we meditated on equanimity towards others, and then we talked about, the kindness of others. And then today, what we're going to really realize is that what it doesn't allow us to just open our hearts to everybody is that kind of like glue that we call self-cherishing, that sticky mental state that is only thinking about ourselves, right? These me, myself, and I, So we're gonna meditate on the disadvantages of allowing this mental state in our minds, right? Like the disadvantages of actually keeping it as the main kind of like controller of our decisions in our minds, because we can see that even though we do have that sense of identity and we do have the sense of almost also like in a biological way we say it's kind of like of this sense of survival, that is very different than self-cherishing, because the self-cherishing is not only about surviving but is about getting everything for ourselves. It's about, okay, we do have food and we can survive, but then I want the best piece of food, the biggest piece of pizza, and I would hope for myself. So that is the problem. That is the mental state that actually creates, in a survival mode that we might have, the suffering, right? His Holiness always says, once we stabilize a small kind of like level of basic survival, then the mind, the self-cherishing mind takes over, and then everything becomes problematic, right? So think about it. Just think about it. It's very interesting. So we're going to meditate on the disadvantages of that, okay? Of this mental state. So let's do it. So let's start with the posture. By now, our cushion already almost has our our imprint, because we've been meditating. So make sure that our legs are crossed, making sure that our knees has, anything to sustain it, so it doesn't receive all the weight of our bodies without anything to sustain it. Making sure we have our back as straight as possible, but without really forcing it. Then arms, they are in the concentration mudra, as we say, the hand gestures of the right hand touching on top of the left, and then the toes kind of like touching slightly. Thumbs, sorry, not toes, thumbs. And then we make sure that our shoulders and relax as well. If we can, we open a little bit then. And then head and neck, as if we're looking something like maybe 1, 2 feet apart, in front of us. And then the tongue touches the upper palate on the back of our upper teeth. And our eyes slightly open if we want some light to come in, or completely closed. And we stabilize our posture, grounding ourselves. And we slowly then relax the attention to the body, the focus on the body, and we start to look into our mental state, mental, emotional, just checking in how we're doing this morning. And especially we try to check our intention and motivation for being here this morning, meditating. And we can try to remember, or at least check, that when we woke up this morning, we didn't say, I hope I can suffer and I have a bad day. Maybe we woke up and we didn't even pay attention to our minds and we just started doing things. But whatever we have been doing so far, if we really investigate, it is based on our wish to find pleasures and happiness and to avoid feeling them, feeling any type of displeasures and suffering. So try to check if the reason why you're motivating is to also achieve these goals. Because if it is, then meditation can really accomplish that. Because the main reason why we don't accomplish that happiness and we are not free from any uncomfortable situation is because we believe that the way to achieve that is to be selfish, to be self-centered, thinking only about accomplishing our wish for happiness and our wish to be free from suffering. So the more we familiarize ourselves with how this mental state, it's actually cheating us in accomplishing our goals, the more we can really start developing our minds towards achieving lasting happiness and completely elimination of the suffering. So we can start by bringing our attention to our breath, becoming aware of the subtle sensations every time we breathe in and out through our nostrils. And we try to just observe it. We try to not engage our minds in changing the way we breathe. So in this way, we are decreasing our habitual tendency to always change or create or add or perfect the object. Just stay with it as it is. Observing the in and out. And when we notice we got distracted, we also try to not create something else, or we just notice. And we remember that right now you're supposed to be concentrating on the breath. So we simply let it go of the distraction and bring the attention back to the breath again and again. And now that we were able to focus and concentrate our minds a bit better, we'll use that focus and concentration to really analyze how we can't accomplish our wish for happiness for ourselves and the wish to not be free from suffering if we are constantly actually thinking only about fulfilling our own wishes. So, because as we saw, all other beings want to be happy and not suffer just like us. And actually wanting to help them to achieve that is the source of our own happiness. So in order to achieve that, we really need to understand how our selfish attitude, self-centered attitude, blocks us for that. So just try to reflect on your daily experiences. Maybe just trying to figure out how the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, the main topic or theme is fulfilling your own wishes and desires. Try to think about it. Maybe observe your day as of right now, what you already done, but maybe yesterday. But not only this, try to check that when we don't get what we want, we act in ways that actually can even harm others. Maybe check, how you can be rude or say things in a rude or unkind ways based on you wanting what you want, how you want it, just being obsessed with having that. Try to check that for a moment. And not only we harm others, but we actually ended up saying or doing things that we might regret later. And that creates guilt and is the source of our self-hatred, our negative self-esteem towards ourselves. So think about it for a moment, investigate that. And try to check as well how we being completely obsessed with our own happiness and only thinking about ourselves makes us overly sensitive and easily offended. Someone says something or they don't do what we want. Think about it. Try to come up with experiences, your own experiences of feeling like that, easily offended and overly sensitive about the way people behave towards you. And having the cause of it, your self-centered attitude. And try to check as well how your overly exaggerated self-preoccupation, just thinking about you all the time, it's also the basis for all our fears to arise. We become so fearful of not having what we want or having what we don't want because we are only thinking about ourselves, our own needs. Think about it for a moment. Try to come up with examples of your own life. And if we really observe, following our self-centered attitude only increases our dissatisfaction. Being completely obsessed in fulfilling our desires just enhance our attachment and is like drinking salty water. It's never enough to end our thirst for more and more and more. Completely confuses us, thinking the more I have, the happier I'll become, but it never works. So think about it. How this selfish mindset, this self-centered of you having more and more and more doesn't actually bring you any happiness. And increases your actually feeling of dissatisfaction and suffering. Think about it for a moment. And in this way, when we follow those self-centered attitudes, we create the basis, the habit, the karma to continue doing that again and again and again and again in an ever-ending loop. And this completely doesn't allow us to actually find the lasting happiness of thinking about others and helping others. So really try to come to the conclusion that the self-centeredness, the selfish attitude is our worst enemy. It really doesn't allow us to fulfill our innermost wish of happiness and no suffering, but does the opposite. It doesn't give us the lasting happiness we want and creates more causes for suffering. Try to come to this conclusion. And once you really realize that, try to decide to let it go. Try to decide and allow to arise that wish to be free from it. Completely free from that mind. Try to really stabilize that wish. So with that, we dedicate that we can accomplish that wish in everything that we do, not only here during our meditation, but in all our daily activities, that we can really accomplish our wish to let it go and be free from that selfish attitude. By really ingraining in our minds and understanding through our own experiences the negative aspects, the disadvantages of that selfish attitude. So we dedicate that we are able to do it, and the more we do it, the more we are able to not harm others and even benefit others. So we dedicate for that. And when we feel ready, then we can move our bodies, open our eyes, open our hearts, also good, but eyes also good. So this is really the meditation we need to use in our daily lives. Really try our best to do it. So I hope we can use it. This is a very useful meditation in the daily lives, okay? So try to not just leave it here, but bring it to the world. Then it becomes meditation. Every time, all the time, everywhere, with everybody, okay? Hope it was in any way beneficial. See you tomorrow or see you
See you
on
tonight.
Wednesday.
See you
See you.
tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.